Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really fun video that I've been wanting to do, and it is thrillers that I recommend. I think I have about 16 books on this list, and two books that are from the same author, and then also two more that are from the same author. But yeah, so that'll show you some of my favorite authors and just some of my favorite thriller books. I don't have a lot of these physically. As you can probably tell by my channel, I do read a lot from the library, and I do unhaul books a lot. I actually just took a lot of books to Half Price Books today. Haven't filmed an unhaul video before, but maybe next time I have a big group of books stacked up, I'll do an unhaul video. But yeah, let's just get into the video. I do have two here, so I'll just show these two here first that I decided to keep, or just, you know, didn't get from the library that I owned. So yeah, the first book, that thriller book that I recommend, is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. I read this book pretty recently and I really enjoyed it, and it was such a quick read. Definitely would recommend it to everybody, and I have talked about this on my channel a couple times in TBR videos, and now I'm finally talking about it. Talked about it in one of my wrap-ups recently, maybe May, and now I'm finally talking about it because I highly recommend this psychological thriller. And it's about a married couple, and you know, everybody thinks that they have it perfect and that he's a perfect guy. The woman has a disabled sister. Her sister has Down syndrome, and they're like, oh, you have a perfect husband to help you take care of him. And you know, it's just not what it seems. It's about Jack and Grace are the couple, and others might wonder why Grace never answers her phone or why she can never meet for coffee. That is because he's very controlling. And you'll see just how she deals with this situation of him becoming a different person after marriage. Then another marriage type of book is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreet. And this was actually my very first book of the month book. And I usually, like I said, I unhaul books after I read them a lot of the times, unless they are really, really good. This book kind of was a little bit iffy for me until about page 80, so I will say stick it out until then for sure. And it was my first book by Kimberly McCreet, and definitely not my last. I definitely want to dive into her backlist a little bit. Like I said, it was my first book of the month book, so kind of keeping it that for that reason too. And I would like to reread someday. I have heard that this book may be turned into a movie, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah, like I said, definitely give this one a chance too. Lizzie is a lawyer, and a friend from the past calls her up and says, I'm being charged for this murder. Can you please help me? And she's like, I'm not that type of lawyer. Maybe I can get somebody else to help you. But he really wants her to help. And then also she's having some like marriage problems as well. So two different kinds of stories there, and it goes, I believe it's multiple point of view, or like multiple timelines. I did read this last May whenever I got it, as soon as I got it. And like I said, very, very good. Definitely stick with it. If you have previously tried to read it and then couldn't get into it, I would say it gets better around that page 80-ish mark. All right, and then another book that I recommend. I recommend this author in general, but my favorite book, the author is Ruth Ware, and my favorite book is The Turn of the Key. And this is a nanny kind of story. It really is similar to The Haunting of Bly Manor, I believe it's called. And the beginning of the book, it starts off with her in jail, and one of the children has died, and they, of course, blame her. And it talks about this mysterious home, and it is a smart home. And I had a good time reading it, and it kept me up at night trying to like figure out what was going on. And so yeah, I would definitely highly recommend that book. And also my second favorite, I would say, by that author is One by One, and that's a perfect winter isolated setting book to read. All right, and then the next book I have, I actually do have that one as well on my shelves. I forgot about that. All right. It is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. And this is a YA mystery thriller, and it has a podcast element, or not podcast, kind of a project element on it. And it has transcript. So a lot of mixed media, and she is working on a capstone project, I believe it is, and she's a senior, and there has been this murder in the town, and everybody believes that it is this one guy, and she goes back and kind of reinvestigates it for her project. I have not read the second book in the series, but I really want to soon. And that was also a pretty quick read as well, and highly recommend the audiobook for that too. All right, and then I have next my favorite book from Riley Sager. Have not read Survive the Night yet, but do plan to read that soon. But I would say my favorite book by him is actually Final Girls, and that was like really hard to choose, but I mean, maybe after Final Girls I would say Lock Every Door. But yeah, Final Girls is the one that I read the quickest, and that I was like most into and intrigued and wanting to know what was going on. So that was one that I would recommend. And it is about, there is a group of like 3 women, and then one ends up getting murdered or suicide. They're trying to figure that out, and then so there's only 2 final girls left, and they end up meeting each other and kind of trying to figure out what happened. And then the next book I recommend is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. She also has the book The Broken Girls, but my favorite was The Sundown Motel. It was more of like a horror book, and it was so good, about a haunted hotel, and it has multiple timelines of this girl and then her aunt, whenever her aunt was younger. And I listened to that on audio last summer, and it was just, I highly recommend that book. That is like a very good one. And then next 2 books are by the same author, and that is Alice Feeney, and I recommend His and Hers and Sometimes I Lie. His and Hers is very good on audio. It has a third voice of like a murderer, of the murderer killer, and the voice is really creepy, like distorted. And then 2 other point of views, his and hers point of view, and it is about a murder, and then there is the woman is a like news anchor person, and then the guy is like her ex-husband, I believe. And then the story kind of comes together from there. And then Sometimes I Lie is about a woman that is like in a coma, but like she can hear things around her, and it's kind of about her trying to figure out what happened to her, and finding out some things in her life that she didn't know about. Both of them are really quick reads. His and Hers I wanted to keep on listening to on audio, and got through that one pretty quickly. And then Sometimes I Lie I read in like 2 days over a weekend. I just could not stop reading. It was really, really good. And then I have 2 more books by the same author, Little Secrets and Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. Highly recommend both of those. And I also listened to both of those on audio. I would say maybe I liked Little Secrets a little bit more. I don't know. They're both so good. I remember just physically gasping, and whenever I was like listening to this book while walking last summer, and just really, really highly recommend that author and those 2 books, and really want to read some more by her. I think she has a couple more backlisted books. And then next book is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, and that is about a couple that their marriage kind of gets boring, and they are like, well, let's find some people to murder together. It was a crazy story. Is mainly in the husband's perspective, and the wife kind of keeps him out of the loop a lot of the times. So like they're supposed to be doing this stuff together, but the wife is kind of keeping him out of the loop. And then they also have kids to deal with and all that to deal with. So on top of, murdering these people, finding people to murder, they also have to keep up with their kids' activities, trying to not let their kids find out. And that was just one that I also highly recommend. Highly recommend all of these, but yeah. Next is the author Liv Constantine, and I recommend 2 books by her that I have read so far, and that is The Wife Stalker and The Last Mrs. Parrish. I just finished The Last Mrs. Parrish. It was actually in my summer TBR video, and yeah, that was so good. That one is, both of them are kind of like people trying to break up marriages, and kind of the same premise a little bit. But yeah, so good. And then next is one that I read this January, and a lot of people, I mean, I guess maybe this is like an unpopular opinion, but I really recommend this, especially for beginner thriller readers, and that is The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. She has written YA books in the past, and then this was her first adult thriller, and I actually had a good time. I mean, I would say maybe it was a 4 stars, but I still recommend, especially beginner thriller readers, to read this one. I had a good time with this one. It is a retelling of something. I don't know why I can't remember right now. If I remember, I will insert it. And it is another one kind of like The Last Mrs. Parrish and The Wife Stalker. Well, not really, because this guy, his wife passed away a couple months ago, and then the girl, she moves to this fancy city and neighborhood and is a dog walker to become close to this guy, and then they kind of start a relationship. And it is also kind of like really like drama girlfriend group kind of book, because there is a group of women that they get together and kind of talk about stuff, and obviously everybody thinks like, well, this is a little bit too soon for him to move on, like his wife just passed away. And then, you know, she obviously gets him to move on even quicker and get together. And then I have 2 more on this list. The next one is The One by John Mars, and I took a long time to read this book as well because I was really worried about all of the characters. This is one that I listened to the audiobook and followed along physically, and that really helped out. But once you get into it, you can get the characters straight. I think there's like 5 point of views, and it's about a DNA matchmaking service, and each person gets matched with somebody, or sometimes, you know, the person is married and takes the tests anyway, and it's just the effects of that. And then also somebody also gets matched with somebody across the world, and you would not think that it's too much of a thriller from what I'm saying, but it is definitely a thriller. There is a serial killer point of view, and that's not really a spoiler. Pretty sure that's in the synopsis, so that was fun. Getting, you know, seeing who the serial killer is matched to, who he's matched to, and it was just a pretty quick, fun read. And like I said, I was really nervous about all of the point of views, but once you get into it, you know, it's really easy to kind of keep everybody straight, so I was really happy with that. Then the last one is one that I also read this year, and that is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, and that is about a professor serial killer, and she kills teachers and students, male teachers and students that are just not good. So she's like, well, I'm just going to take care of them and I'm going to get them out of here. And it also follows 2 point of views. It also follows a student there, Carly, and at this college. That is a really good, like, so good. And if you want to save it for fall or like September time when it's back to school, since it takes place at a college campus, I feel like that would be really like atmospheric, and definitely get to that one as soon as you can though, because highly recommend that one. I have a bad problem of starting a couple pages of a book before work, and then that's one that I did. I started like the first chapter or 2 before work, and then I did not want to go to work. I wanted to read some more of that book. So yeah, that is my list of thriller books that I recommend, and also some thriller authors that I would recommend you read from. And if you have any recommendations for me to try, or you know, if you've read any of these, go ahead and comment your favorite from the recommendations that I recommended. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.